Hey everyone! Welcome back to Sunshine English, the podcast where we teach you the kind of English people actually use, especially the everyday English that just doesn't show up in textbooks. I'm Kayla, born and raised in Florida, which means I'm friendly by default, and I have strong opinions about iced coffee and air conditioning. Today, we're talking about small talk and confidence. Specifically, how to speak without freezing when you're nervous, when your mind goes blank, or when you feel like you have to be interesting to keep a conversation going.
What's up, everyone? Mason here, also a Florida native. And I love this topic because small talk sounds easy until you're in it. Someone smiles and says, "So, how's your day going?" And suddenly your brain is like, I have never had a day in my life. The goal of this episode is to make small talk feel predictable, because once it's predictable, it gets way less scary. We'll give you practical building blocks, we'll role play a few situations, and we'll also show you how to recover smoothly if you blank out, because that's the part people don't talk about enough.
Exactly. And one quick reminder before we start, confidence in conversation is not about being the funniest person in the room or having perfect grammar. Confidence is mostly about being steady, being clear, and keeping the conversation moving in a friendly way. If you can do that, even with simple words, you'll sound natural.
Let's start with why small talk makes people freeze. A lot of learners think small talk is this weird social test, like you're supposed to say something clever on the spot. But small talk is usually just a warm-up. It's a way to check the vibe, show basic friendliness, and slowly find a topic you both care about. And once you understand that, it stops feeling like a performance. Also, in the US, small talk is often less about information and more about energy. I'm friendly, you're friendly, cool, we're good.
Yes, and I want to say something that's kind of freeing. In most small talk, the bar is low. Like, you do not need a perfect story. You just need a simple response plus a little extra, and then you throw the ball back. Think of it like playing catch. If someone says, "How's it going?" and you say, "Fine," and stop, it's like you caught the ball and held it. Nothing is wrong, but the game ends. If you add one small detail, "Fine, just a busy morning," and then ask, "How about you?" you've tossed the ball back, and suddenly, it's a conversation.
And the best part is that this works almost everywhere. At work, at the gym, meeting friends of friends, talking to neighbors, standing in line. Basically any moment where two people are just sharing space. Florida is full of those moments, by the way, because people talk to strangers more than they think they do. You can be at a coffee shop in Tampa or a beach parking lot in Fort Lauderdale, and someone will just start talking to you, like you've known each other for years.
Okay, here's our first practical tool. If you want a simple structure that instantly makes you sound more confident, use this. 2 sentences, then a question. Not 10 sentences, not one word. 2 sentences gives the other person something to respond to, and the question makes it easy for them to continue. For example, if someone asks, "How was your weekend?" a one-word answer like, "Good," can feel, closed. But 2 sentences could be, "It was good. I mostly relaxed and tried to stay out of the heat." Then you add, "How about you?" That's it. It's friendly, natural, and easy.
And you can do the same for almost any common small talk question. If someone asks, "What have you been up to?" you can say, "Honestly, work has been busy. I'm trying to get back into a routine." Then you ask, "What about you? Anything new?" Notice how none of that requires advanced vocabulary. It's mostly simple words, but it sounds smooth because it has a shape. When learners freeze, it's often because they're trying to invent a perfect answer from scratch. A structure gives you a default path.
Also, I want to add, your 2 sentences can be totally normal. You do not need to be exciting. You can say, "Not much, just running errands," or "I've been tired lately, to be honest," or I've been trying to cook more at home. Boring is allowed. People don't need fireworks. They need something they can connect to.
Let's role play a classic small talk situation. You're in line at a coffee shop. You don't know the person. You're both waiting, and there's a natural reason to talk. I'll start with a simple opener that isn't weird. I might say, "This line looks serious today. I thought I was being smart coming early, but apparently everyone had the same idea." That's an observation, plus a little humor, and it invites a response without forcing it.
And I could reply in a way that keeps it going, right? I walked in thinking I'd be in and out, and now I'm like, okay, I guess we all need coffee at the same time. Then I'd add a question to toss the ball back. Do you usually come here, or is this a random stop for you? That question is nice because it's light, it's not too personal, and it gives you options. You can answer briefly or you can expand.
Exactly. And I might answer with a 2-sentence rule. I come here pretty often, mostly because it's close to my job, and I'm kind of loyal once I find a place I like. Then I'd ask, what about you? Are you a regular? Notice what's happening there. I'm giving you a tiny detail, close to my job, loyal, and then I'm returning the question. I'm not oversharing, but I'm giving you something to work with.
And then I can connect to one of your details to sound engaged. I could say, I totally get that. Once I find a coffee order that works, I don't want to experiment because I'm not trying to ruin my morning. Then I can follow with a really easy question. What do you usually get? That's a great small talk question because it's specific, it's friendly, and people enjoy talking about food and drinks.
Answer, boring. I get an iced latte like 90% of the time. In Florida, it just feels wrong to order something hot when it's basically summer all year. And then I throw it back. How about you? What's your go-to? If you're learning English, phrases like go-to are super useful. My go-to means my usual choice, my default.
I'm an iced coffee person too, but I do this thing where I convince myself I'm going to be healthy. So I'll order something like cold brew and then immediately want a pastry. Honestly, I respect anyone who can walk out of a coffee shop with just a drink. None of these lines are complicated, but they sound confident because they're relaxed, clear, and they give the other person something to respond to.
Now, let's address the scary moment. You freeze. Your mind goes blank and you feel pressure. The good news is that native speakers freeze too, and we have rescue phrases that make it normal. One of my favorites is, "Sorry, my brain just blanked for a second." That line is superhuman. It doesn't sound dramatic, it doesn't sound like you failed, and it buys you time.
Yes, and here are a few more that are natural and really useful for learners. You can say, "Give me a second, I'm trying to think how to say it." That one is perfect if you're searching for a word. You can also say, "That's a good question. It sounds confident and it gives you a moment to think." Another great option is repeating the question in your own words, like, "What do I do for work?" Yeah, so I work in. Repeating slows things down and helps you restart.
And I want to add something important. You don't have to apologize 100 times. Some learners say sorry constantly because they feel like they're bothering people. But most of the time, you can replace sorry with something more confident, like quick question or by the way. For example, quick question, do you know where the restroom is? Sounds calm and normal. Sorry. Can I ask, can make you sound anxious even when your English is good.
Exactly. Confidence is often just removing unnecessary self-doubt from your language. You can still be polite, but you don't need to shrink. Your voice matters in the conversation, even if your words are simple.
And the reason it works is that you're not forcing a deep topic. You're talking about the shared environment first, which feels safe. Another example, like if you're waiting for an elevator. This building is freezing. I always forget how cold offices are. Do you work on one of the higher floors? Notice how you can keep it simple, and you're still creating a path for conversation.
Okay, tool number 2. Observation plus feeling plus question. This is a starter you can use basically anywhere because it fits normal social life. An observation is something you both can see or experience. A feeling is your reaction, usually light, and the question, it invites the other person in. Here's an example at a casual work event. It's pretty crowded tonight. I didn't realize this many people would show up. Have you been to one of these before? That's it. It's not intense. It's easy.
Let's do another role play. You're at a friend's party in St. Petersburg, Florida. You don't know everyone, you feel a little awkward, and you want to join a conversation without feeling like you're interrupting. A very clean entry line is, "Hey, I don't think we've met. I'm Mason." It's simple, friendly, and it doesn't demand anything.
If you're worried about sounding unnatural, remember, Americans use the environment as a topic constantly. Weather, lines, traffic, the weekend, food, sports, local events. These are all common. In Florida, weather is basically a personality trait, so you can always say something like, "It feels like it might rain in 5 minutes," and people will immediately agree, because it probably will.
Then I can mirror what you said to show I'm listening. Complaining about traffic. That's so real. Then I can expand with a light follow-up. Are you from this area originally, or did you move here? That's a common small talk question in Florida because so many people relocate. It's personal enough to be interesting, but not too personal.
And I might respond with, "Hi Mason, nice to meet you." Then I can help the conversation move by asking a context question. "So how do you know Jordan?" That question is perfect at parties because it's relevant and it gives the other person an easy answer. And when you answer, you can use the 2-sentence rule. Jordan and I went to college together. We've stayed friends because we both love complaining about traffic.
And if you want to leave the door open, like you actually want to talk again, you can add just 1 sentence. "We should talk again in a bit." Or, "I'll see you around." It keeps the vibe warm instead of abrupt.
And here's something learners really need: how to exit without it being awkward. You do not have to escape like you're in danger. You just need a polite line plus a friendly closer. For example, "I'm going to grab a drink, but it was really nice meeting you." Or, "I'm going to go say hi to a couple people, but I'll catch you later." Or even, "All right, I won't keep you. Enjoy the party." Those lines make you sound confident because you're guiding the social moment, instead of panicking.
Let's talk about a skill that instantly boosts confidence. Sounding interested. A lot of learners feel pressure to talk a lot. But you don't need to talk nonstop. You can sound engaged by using reaction phrases and short follow-ups. Reaction phrases are things like, "Oh, nice. No way. That's awesome. That makes sense. Good for you." Or, "That's wild." Then, you add a small follow-up question. "How come? How so? What happened? What was that like?" These are short, but they make the other person feel heard.
Yes, and a big confidence trick is choosing follow-ups that are easy. For example, if someone says, "I just started a new job," you don't need a genius response. You can say, "Oh, nice, congrats. What's it been like so far?" That's friendly and it encourages them to talk, which takes the pressure off you. If someone says, "I've been learning English," you can say, "That's awesome. What made you want to learn?" The secret is, good small talk is often about asking comfortable questions and reacting naturally.
And if your vocabulary is limited, you can still do this. You can replace challenging with hard. You can replace exciting with cool. Clear language beats fancy language.
A confident speaker is usually just someone who is calm and easy to follow.
Okay, final role play, a work networking event in Miami. There are name tags, there's background music, everyone is holding a drink like it's emotional support. A really good opener in that situation is, "Hi, I'm Kayla. Nice to meet you. What brings you here tonight?" That question is open, it doesn't sound like an interview, and it gives the other person choices.
I'd answer in a friendly, simple way. Nice to meet you, Kayla. Honestly, I'm trying to meet people in the area and learn what everyone's working on. I just moved back to Florida after a couple years away. Then I'd ask you a return question. How about you? Are you here with your company or did you come with a friend?
And I could say, "I'm here with my company, I'm in product design, and I'm really trying to get better at talking to people outside of my little bubble." That line is nice because it's honest and it makes you sound human. Then I can ask you something specific to keep it moving. "So, what do you do?" And when you answer, you can keep it simple. "I work in analytics," or "I'm in sales," and then add one detail. "Right now I'm focusing on healthcare clients," or "I mostly work with small businesses."
Exactly. And then I can keep it going with one of my favorite follow-ups. Oh, interesting. How did you get into that? That question is gold because it invites a story, but it doesn't pressure the person to be deep. Now, if you're learning English, this is also a great place to practice past tense in a natural way because people will say things like, "I started in one job, then I moved into another role," and you can listen for that pattern.
And if at any point you feel yourself freezing, you can use a rescue line that fits the situation. Like, "That's a good question. Let me think how to explain it." Then you give yourself permission to slow down. When you speak slower, you sound more confident and you make fewer mistakes.
Here's a surprising thing. Sometimes the most confident move is calmly admitting you feel awkward. Not in a dramatic way, just lightly. For example, I'm not gonna lie, I get a little awkward at networking events. That line usually makes people relax because they're thinking the exact same thing. Or you can say, "It's been a long week. My social skills are loading." It's playful and it gives your brain a break.
Yes, and for English learners, another very useful comfort line is, "I'm blinking on the word, but you know what I mean." It's a way to keep the conversation flowing, even if you forget vocabulary. And I love this one too. Wait, let me restart that. That phrase is powerful because it puts you in control. Instead of panicking, you're calmly editing yourself. Like, "I'm going to say that again, better." Native speakers do this all the time.
And if you're worried you're talking too much, there's an easy fix. End your thought and toss the ball back with, "Anyway, how about you?" That one sentence can rescue a conversation and make it balanced again.
Let's wrap up with a recap that you can actually remember and use today. First, remember that small talk is a warm-up, not a performance. You don't need perfect English, you need friendly, clear English. Second, use the two-sentence rule. Answer with two sentences, then ask a question. Third, start conversations with observation plus feeling plus question, because it works almost anywhere and it feels natural. Fourth, keep a small follow-up bank in your head. How about you? How did you get into that? And what's that been like?
And fifth, if you freeze, don't panic. Use a rescue phrase like, "My brain blanked for a second." Or, "Give me a second. I'm trying to think how to say it." Or simply, "That's a good question." Those lines are not embarrassing. They're normal. And honestly, when you handle a freeze calmly, you often look more confident than someone who never freezes because you're showing that you can recover smoothly.
Thanks for listening to Sunshine English.
If you're practicing small talk this week, keep it simple and aim for connection, not perfection. And if you're in Florida right now, please drink water, wear sunscreen, and don't trust the weather app too much.
Seriously, Florida weather will look you in the eyes and change its mind. All right. We'll catch you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye!